guys, so whether you are a beginning photographer or a seasoned photographer, you probably have gotten once in your email box, and if you're seasoned, you're probably more than once, somebody coming back to you and asking you to Photoshop a batch of photos that you normally don't do in your regular edits. So whether it be asking for something to be removed out of the photo or somebody to be put in the photo that wasn't there in the first place, or they want to look skinnier in their photo, or however, this question is one of our biggest pet peeves because it does take a lot of time. I mean, with the world of Photoshop now, people think that we can magically just snap our fingers and things will just happen, but they don't understand that it takes a lot of time to do something like that. It could take somewhere between minutes to hours to do one photo, depending on what type of edit you want to get accomplished. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about ways to kind of avoid, having this discussion with your client. The biggest thing is, putting it in your contract. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what I put in my contract, so that way you can put this in your contract to help facilitate this conversation in the future. Okay. So the one thing is that I would definitely say, if you get an email that comes back to you and they're asking you about these photos, is explain to them that it does take a lot of time. If they're wanting 500 photos done, it's going to take you at least 25 hours. But that's 25 hours on top of the work you already did for them. So you basically want to explain to them that, the contract and amount that you gave them was based off of you going out to shoot the wedding and the amount of time it takes to process the set amount of photos after the fact. It doesn't cover any editing time over that, which could be 25 hours, could be 30 hours. Yeah, you could spend 25 hours, 3 days on a set of 500 photos, but that's if you don't eat, don't sleep, don't take any breaks, and you don't have any other work to do, which is possibly not true. Okay, so I would give them an option. I would never ever turn my clients away and say, well, I can't do anything for you. I will always say, you know what, I'm definitely sorry that you're unsatisfied with your photos. I'll be happy to do a set amount of photos at your request. Say give them 20 photos, give them 30 photos to pick from, their favorites, so that way you can, go ahead and edit that. That 30 photos is much more manageable than 500 photos, okay? The other thing is you can always outsource as well. There's a lot of good outsourcing companies right now. Check with your photography group and photography peers on who they recommend and who they use, and see about maybe testing some of these outsourcing companies out. I actually outsourced during a really busy wedding season. For instance, this month I have 3 weddings back to back, so I might outsource one wedding, so that way I can kind of concentrate on doing the other 2. It kind of just takes stuff off your plate, so that way you can free up your time, and not be so stressed out because you have so much stuff going on, okay? So the final thing is, I think that what really avoids these problems is basically hitting it, at the beginning of the conversation rather than at the end, okay? So I do recommend that in your contract you have an area where it says image processing, and I'll read you what I have on mine, okay? So under image processing in mine, it says, unless agreed upon prior to any editing work, high-resolution discs or proof sets may contain a mixture of color and black and white. Okay, so that basically says that under my discretion, I will either turn the photo black and white or I will leave it in color. And that's what I feel like it looks best in. An alternately colored version of photo may be purchased at a current rate. So that way they know that they can purchase the color version if they want, but normally nobody really comes back to me because it always says they're going to get a mixture of, okay? Limited color correction or retouching are included at photographer's discretion. Contract includes global editing work such as correct exposure, white balance, brightness, contrast, and saturation, okay? So basically it's saying that your contract only includes these global edits, okay? Anything outside of the scope of this will be considered a special edit. Now this is very important, okay? Client requests further changes and special edits for additional charge. Specific requests that require major retouching of image cost them $75 per image or $75 per hour if editing time is over 15 minutes in an image. So basically that's saying that anything outside of my global edit, meaning they want me to remove something out of photos, make them smaller, anything outside of that is going to cost them at least $75 an image, okay? Photographer is not responsible for any prints that are not ordered directly from her. For best results, client with a high resolution file should order the prints through a reputable lab. So basically I'm taking away the responsibility that if their monitor is not color calibrated or they went to Walmart or something and their contrast is off, that it's not, the responsibility is not on me, because if they had ordered it through me, then I would have made sure that the photo was correct before shipping it out to them, right? Okay. Please note there are certain edits the photographer will not deliver, such as selection coloring or editing items people into or out of photos. So you can see the last sentence basically says it all. I'm not going to be taking your dead grandma and putting it in your photo. You know, I'm not going to, you know, if you missed a family member, I'm not going to go and, you know, try to edit two, you know, photos side by side together. You know, it just takes too much work. Yes, if they want to pay for that, then yes, I will do that. Okay, the other thing that's really important is I don't do selection coloring. I don't do selective coloring. I know that's a big trend right now. A lot of brides like it, but I've already put in my contract that I'm not going to do that. So if they come back and tell me they want just the blue highlighted, I'm going to refer them back to the image processing and say, hey, you know, that's not an edit I do. So it's very important. For instance, if you don't do a vintage type of edit with vignettes and stuff like that, maybe that's something you want to put in your contract. So that way, you know, if they do come back and say that, you say, you know, per the contract under image processing, this is what I provide as far as editing goes, you know, and I don't do that type of editing look. Doing this in your contract, meaning they reading it before, you know, they even come back to you, it kind of solves all the problems ahead of time. Of course, I'm not saying that you'll never get an email asking them for you to do that. You possibly will. You know, there's always at least one or two clients that are going to ask for it, you know, but at least now you can say, you know, can you please refer back to the contract? And that way they're not coming back saying, I didn't know, or, you know, that they didn't sign something saying that there's going to be additional work. It makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to come back and tell them that you're going to charge them money for the edit, rather than when it's not stated in the contract and you coming back. It kind of facilitates a fight. Okay, all right. Of course, you want your lawyer to look that over. If you want to add it to your contract, you possibly want to make sure that it adheres to the laws of your state. All right. As always, I do videos every Thursday, so make sure you subscribe to this channel to keep up on more photography tips and tricks. I will talk to you next time.